I have discovered the source of happiness and well-being and emotional balance and psychological balance also, and everything else that is great in life. Want to hear about it? Hi, this is Liana, Holistic Intimacy Coach. Welcome back to my channel. Here I help you get your orgasmic intimacy. Hey, this is me jumping in because I was editing the video and I realized some parts of the topic were missing. So first of all, here's a rundown of what we're going to talk about. Number one, I'm going to talk about how I perceive our sources of unhappiness or lack of happiness. And naturally, I'm talking from the perspective of intimacy and intimate relationships. Obviously, there are more topics out there that can contribute to our lack of happiness, but I'm sticking to my own field of expertise. That's number one. So first we're talking about the potential causes. Secondly, we're talking about my solutions to happiness. And third, I'm going to talk about the cases or the conditions under which the solutions that I'm presenting actually do not help you. This also can happen. It's not universally valid. So I'm going to bring that topic up and I'm going to tell you there what my possible solutions are in that situation. Okay, there are timestamps under the video. You can check out whatever's of interest to you. At least once, I recommend that you go through all of the video. So there are many things that we lack as we grow. One crucial thing that I found we are all lacking in was education around how to be our own support, our own help in challenging situations. No matter if we're talking about health issues, legal issues, professional issues, intimacy issues, family-related issues, the art to navigate stressful emotional times and tense psychological times for us, as the Americans say, rough patches in their lives, is actually an art, and it's not taught, or at least my generation where I grew up in my neck of the woods, Romania, Southeastern Europe, this was not taught when we were kids. Our parents hadn't been taught. Schools didn't have this in their curricula. Nobody had these. So it was up to our generation when they started reaching 30 to get educated based on Eastern cultures a lot. Tai Chi, Qigong, martial arts sometimes, yes, that was the first, before actually Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, and all of that. What reached Romania as I was growing up during the communist regime, it was movies. Movies of Rambo, movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So all of these movies portrayed these warriors in super elite fitness models, essentially, but also martial arts that entailed discipline. And when I recall, when I was a kid, the first thing that everybody did as they were growing up, their parents would send their kids to karate classes. I don't know who made them popular in our country. Was it Rambo, Sylvester Stallone? Like all the guys had posters, like young guys, young boys, posters with Arnold Schwarzenegger in their rooms. Whenever we would go to somebody's birthday party, we would all look for the posters to see who they had. It was either Rambo, Terminator. I can't remember what Jean-Claude Van Damme played, but like the roles that he played. But the idea is that all had a super warrior, super fit, and super capable man. And mothers also started sending their daughters to karate classes. Not to kick boys' asses, but to learn the discipline. Because we all understood that martial arts, as opposed to whatever other sports activities we had in our country, because we had wrestling, we had boxing, we had a lot of other sports in our country, but the masses understood that the discipline, the mental discipline was lacking. So that was, I guess, the first root in our country for my generation. Nowadays, it's still important. Like a lot of people go there, but many people somehow remain at the level of I'm in a challenging situation, somebody tell me, somebody rescue me. Well, and the rough thing about it is now with social media, especially Facebook, like I'm 41, and a lot of women who are around this age from my country, they still use Facebook because of Facebook groups. And in Facebook groups, you can ask for help. And boy, oh boy, and girl, oh girl, do they ask for help, free advice, free anything. They would rather get a community's advice than go to personal growth on their own. They're asking for advice around intimate stuff, really challenging, whether it's cheating, whether it's dating somebody but not being sure what to make of the person, health stuff, reproductive health stuff, whether they get the stuff from others or they develop the stuff on their own because of hormonal imbalances and so on. And a lot of it is, I have this situation, tell me how to do it, because I don't know. A lot of them justify this by saying that they can't afford a medical consultation, a therapist to go to for the long run. I don't know what to tell you about that, because there are, in terms of medical consultations, I don't think there is any substitute for that. Like whenever I see on a group a woman asking for a treatment for whatever condition she has, I started reaching out to the administrators of the group and saying, we're not physicians here. We don't know this person's overall health, predispositions. We don't know what her history is. Like, we don't know. And we're not certified. How the heck can we give treatments and diagnoses to somebody that sometimes they just tell the symptoms? They don't even have a diagnosis from a physician. So I started, having this approach where I keep telling women, but we're not physicians. We can't help you there. And nobody would take the risk of telling you something and then you finding out that you have complications because maybe you can't tolerate the stuff that some not medical women think of to give you as treatment. So that's one thing that like I said, people would rather go to the cheapest source and always ask others instead of, paying the professionals or the medical expertise at least, and seeking a second opinion, a third opinion, because that's also something that we do everywhere on the planet when it comes to treatments, diagnoses, and so on. I think that's very healthy. And then when it comes to relationship advice, my only reaction nowadays is, look, you're struggling with something, but we don't know what your mindset is. We don't know all your track history. We don't know all the perspective of your relationship. You're just giving us a few lines here. And it's also worth saying that you're going to run into potential troubles or challenges in your relationship in the future also. You can't keep asking people for advice to tell you, what to do, because nobody else can live your relationships for you. So when I say that I found the key or the secret to happiness and well-being and emotional balance, psychological balance, and all of that, I'm talking about, first of all, relying on myself to calm down whenever a challenge comes up. And I do get challenges like everybody else. My emotions and my thoughts go berserk. I go crazy. There's a lot of tension inside me. And the first key to happiness is what? Balancing yourself. Okay? Detensing whatever's going on. So now I've started doing somatic practices. It's my bread and butter, figuratively speaking. And what I mean by this is sometimes all I need is just 10 minutes. Sometimes it's really tough, so I need more than 10 minutes, like 30 minutes, and that's when I do breath work. That's another, like breath work, I don't equate it with just the somatic practice. Breath work to me is like the god or goddess of all the practices and healing practices out there. Okay, breath work, nothing compares to breath work from my perspective. But in most cases, I can fix it or detense all the stuff that I'm going through in about 10 minutes, which is a godsend. So I started transforming my states first and foremost with somatic practices. Secondly, when it's something like super challenging, I go for breath work. Third, I go for conscious self-pleasuring. which is, yes, I use aroused sexual energy, but I also use somatic modalities. So I usually either use touch on other parts of my body, like for instance, the heart, to soothe my heart, or obviously breath work, which is, it looks differently because you're self-pleasuring. So it's a different movement, different intensity, different rhythm. So it looks completely different. So these are my three sources, the keys, actually, because I have three keys to happiness, but more accurately said, self-centering, emotional balance, psychological balance, detensing all of the intensity where the nerves, the upset that I have with these somatic practices, which you'll find in my community. I got dozens. Actually, I got 132 and counting. Breath work, which I also do in person, but you also find in the community. And conscious self-pleasuring, well, that one I actually don't facilitate that in any way, although I was trained to support coachees with self-pleasuring, but it's so extreme for most people to even wrap their brains around being coached in physical presence by somebody to do conscious self-pleasuring. It is one of the areas that sexological bodywork training covers, but it's an extreme one. I have not facilitated this with anyone. And I don't think I will, because a lot of people don't understand this. They take it in all the self-gratifying wrong ways. So this is something that I don't coach others on, but I do use it for myself, for purging emotions, for transforming whatever thoughts. And sometimes with conscious self-pleasuring, you can rewire your mindset around your sexuality and how you relate sexually to other people, your boundaries around relating sexually to other people, and so on. Conscious self-pleasuring is a really, really powerful tool. Not many women seek this from a woman coach. Do they seek it from men coach on sexuality? I wouldn't know. I honestly wouldn't know. I know that there are a lot of women, they want to get genital massage from men. That I do know. But they want to get a massage. They don't want to get coached around self-pleasuring. Because the very principle is that when somebody's coaching you around conscious self-pleasuring, they're not touching you. They're really not touching you. It's self-pleasuring. You're doing all the work. They're guiding a process there. Totally different thing. Now, when women go to men around sexuality for sexual growth work, they understand the massages. It's a different thing. You go to get a genital massage for different purposes. So my keys of emotional happiness, balancing, and grounding are, again, somatic practices, breath work, the god, or actually the goddess of the somatic practices, and conscious self-pleasuring. Now, why do I do these? Because it's not to show myself that, you know, I'm better, I'm off on my own, I don't need a guy. Absolutely not. I believe, first of all, in love and compatibility when it comes to relating to somebody intimately. So you got to love one another, you know, you got to have reciprocity in the emotion. And you also got to be able to function with one another on multiple levels. Those are my high standards when it comes to relationships. Now, that's one. Secondly, I believe that the other person, they're not our therapist, and we're not the therapist of our partner either. So some that we have, it's on us to clean. And we help the relationship so much better. We make the relationship much easier, more beautiful, more constructive overall when we actually show up for ourselves and we handle our stuff to the best of our abilities. So that's why I think we're better partners in intimacy and in any other kind of endeavor when we apply keys to happiness on our own. All right, now let's talk about the moments when these sources of happiness that I've seen do not help you. Number one, when it's obvious for you that you have gone through an emotional wound, whether it was in the distant past or in the near past. or maybe in the present. So there's a lot of emotional charge that you might be aware of. And these practices on their own, they will not be enough for you. In that situation, you need therapy. Okay, therapy. Somatic practices can definitely help, but they best help the people that are more conscious of their resources and have a more optimistic mindset around their own lives, their capacity to, well, not necessarily face or fight with their lives, but just succeed in their lives and thrive in their lives. How you see yourself, how you trust that you might have the solutions already and all it takes is work. Or if you don't have them, you at least have the confidence that with the proper help, you will start to see them. So you're not in the mindset of, I don't know what to do, somebody help me. Okay, that level, which I've been there also, that level of existence needs therapy and needs massive personal growth. These practices can help you at least discharge some of the tension, and that is extremely valuable. But on their own, if you're in that place or stage in your life, they won't be enough. Secondly, it's when you're going through a lot of stuff in your life. You're overstressed with work. You're overstressed with your family situation. Maybe your relationship is in a crisis. Maybe you've just broken up with somebody. These practices, they can definitely help you, practices, but again, they're not enough in those moments, and it's understandable. If you're overstressed with work, realistically, when I encounter this kind of people and I tell them about the practices, they don't have the energy to do them. Sometimes people don't have the energy to do one breath, like not even that. Trust me, I've had women in my community that were in desperate need of help. They were so freaking overworked and so freaking on deadlines all the heavenly blessed time. You know exactly what I was going to say, but yeah. So they didn't, like, I couldn't reach them with the message. Look, if you have 1 minute, this will take like 10 seconds. And the rest of the minute we say hello and bye. No. They were so stressed. They were typing that I don't have time. I don't have time. And I try to tell at least one of these women, dude, that's how I talk when I'm pissed off. That's how I talk to people. I'm sorry. I told her, dude, but it takes more time for you to freaking explain to me in writing what the problem is than actually trying this. I don't have time. I don't have time. Like the mindset of the person that is so stressed with work, like their nerves are completely tense. That's stretched. That's what we say in Romania. When your nerves are stretched, nervi întinși, there's no reaching out to you. There's like, you can't reach through, actually, not reach out, reach through to the person. So in those situations, nothing can help you aside from rest. Like, I mean it, rest, because usually people who are so stressed don't have quality sleep. The sleep is not truly resting for them, or they don't wake up feeling rested. And secondly, you need to really redo your daily schedule. Like you need life coaching in that situation, or perhaps somebody showing the, I don't know what kind of discipline, like dictatorship discipline, to put you out of your heavenly misery. You know exactly what I was going to say. And just tell you, okay, it's 7 p.m. and you're still working, stop, go home. I don't want to see you at work. Or shut down the computer, go and take a walk outside in the park maybe. So in those situations, no somatic practice can help you. And I'm sorry for being so tense right now, but I get so angry when I see people that they seek help, they know that they're in trouble, but the obvious thing, like rewire your freaking schedule, or at least tell your boss that this is not healthy and you're risking your health right now, and that means complications for your employer if you can prove that you were overworked. So really, that's the only solution. But I'm just a somatic coach and a breathwork coach, so they don't believe me when I say it. somehow I don't have the authority in their eyes. And this is crazy making for me. That's why sometimes I even tell people, look, like what you have, it's pretty obvious. You need to sleep, you need to change your daily schedule, and in some cases, you need therapy. I cannot help you. Okay, and overall, the third situation, or I should go like this, the third situation in which I cannot really say that these practices help you is when maybe you're not overworked. Maybe you haven't broken up with anybody, but your mindset, like you were raised with the mindset of, I need others to tell me what to do. I'm not good enough on my own. I need to get this job and these people tell me exactly what to do. And it's not even obvious to you. Okay, you're in the inferior person mindset without even realizing, because this is how you were raised by your family. This is the helpless mentality that was ingrained by your surrounding. Maybe you grew up in a very poor city, village, family, or it was ingrained in you, possibly, I'm not sure, 100% possibly because your parents, or at least one authority figure in your family, wanted you obedient. So they raised you to not have confidence. This is called developmental trauma. Yes, when we don't have a minimum of self-confidence that we can handle our own stuff, that we can succeed on our own, that we can thrive in a situation, that we can reach a goal, that we can aspire to having a better income, a better life, a better health, a better house on our own, not necessarily overworking ourselves or slaving ourselves into others' businesses. That is the helpless mentality, and it was ingrained into you through your upbringing. That one also needs therapy. Somatic practices cannot help you there because that's primarily a mindset issue. And it was so ingrained in you that you need time to become aware of it. Because first of all, in order to transform something, you have to understand, you have to feel, this is how I am, and this is the minimum of what I want to be. It's really, this needs therapy. And people that are specialized, like therapists, that are specialized in developmental trauma. And this needs long-term therapy. The person that was also with family crises and all of that, they also need long-term therapy, by the way. That's not to blame. That's not to be ashamed of. That's a level at which you are right now. And somatic practices can only help you this much. Therapy is the primary thing that you need to try. Okay, so these are the situations in which somatic practices are not going to be your sources of happiness, because the amount of misery, suffering, struggle that you're dealing with right now was deeply ingrained in how you see, or through how you see the world. And that needs, cognitive behavioral therapy, long-term. Sometimes it's not so cheap to get, but that's the only solution. So if you want to try out some of the stuff, some of my happiness keys, then check out the Patreon community. At least the first two keys you're going to find there. Okay, somatic practices and the goddess of practices, breathwork. There are audio guided practices there. And I'm not just talking there, I'm also doing them. Okay, just like a coach does. I do and I facilitate for others at the same time. The conscious self-pleasuring, that's a different discussion. That one is only in individual sessions. For those that seek this, women, it's a different discussion. So that's it. I'm going to leave you with this. I would love to know what your take is on sources or keys of happiness. What do you like? How do you wrap your brain around this? That's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.